What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So you clearly see the title of the broadcast. Listen, look, people, I'm bringing this to you right now. So in China, they're having a situation in Hong Kong. They have a huge fire with a resident building out there right now. And this just popped off. This is Thanksgiving, stuff like that. I think this just popped off, yesterday or today, you know what I'm saying, which, at the recording of this video is still Thanksgiving. So let's go here now. Let's dive off into this. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
Smoke rising, the building still burning over 24 hours later. Firefighters working around the clock to gain control.
The fire was spreading exceptionally fast, exceptionally rapid.
The search for survivors trapped inside, with dozens of people still unaccounted for. The scale of destruction is staggering. Video showing the flames spreading up 32 stories from one building to the next with no warning. I smelled a strong burning odor, this resident told NBC News. She said she went downstairs and saw the fire burning fiercely. Hong Kong's deadliest blaze in decades, the 8 towers were home to nearly 5,000 people, many of them now in temporary shelters, uncertain they can go back. We bought this apartment more than 20 years ago, she says. There's nothing left. What are we supposed to do? Investigators are now piecing together how the fire spread so quickly. The focus on construction netting and foam boards that could have fueled it. Bamboo scaffolding commonly used in Hong Kong, another possible factor.
Even if the structure is okay, doesn't mean we can move people back to the building very soon.
3 men from a construction company have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter for using unsafe materials. With anger rising in Hong Kong, there are families still waiting for news of loved ones still missing. Janice Mackey-Frere, NBC News.
We thank you for.
Man, this is wild right here. Jesus, are you kidding me? So they're saying bamboo construction, shoddy materials and stuff like that. Gee, man, listen, look, man, I'm not trying to be difficult here, but we know that in the history of, the Asian culture, definitely over there, bamboo is a part of the construction and stuff like that. It has been for thousands of years. I don't negate that. I get it. At one point, it was very useful for their culture. Bamboo is very strong and could sustain, building structures with. Man, wow. So they're saying that, the materials that basically were used in this particular building here were, of course, more easier to, be flammable and stuff like that. Man, this is wild right here. So, yeah, let's keep going because, Jesus, man, this is wild.
The horrific scene unfolding overseas, the massive high-rise inferno in Hong Kong. 7 apartment buildings on fire, each one standing 31 stories tall. The death toll rising, dozens killed, hundreds still missing. Here's ABC's chief international correspondent, James Longman.
Horror in Hong Kong tonight. At least 36 people are dead and more than 250 still missing in this devastating fire ripping through this huge apartment complex. 7 31-story tower blocks burning out of control for hours. Flames glowing in just about every one of the 2,000 apartments. Black smoke visible for miles around. More than 4,500 people live here, young and old, and it's unclear how much time they had to escape.
Damn, more than 4,500 people live there? Hold on here.
2,000 apartments, black smoke visible for miles around. More than 4,500 people live here, young.
4,500 people live there. Jesus Christ. In one apartment complex? Man, China real out there. We know China got a lot of people that live there. You know what I'm saying? Man, God, 4,500 people in that one apartment complex alone. Jesus, that's a lot of people.
and old, and it's unclear how much time they had to escape. Anxious residents evacuated to nearby shelters wait for news on their loved ones. This man's screaming for his wife, who he says couldn't get out. More than 800 firefighters and paramedics on the scene fighting the flames.
The temperature inside the buildings concerned are very high. So it's quite difficult for us to enter the building and go upstairs to conduct firefighting and rescue operation.
The fire started at around 3 p.m. local time on the bamboo scaffold covering the buildings. By 6 p.m, a Category 5 was announced, Hong Kong's highest alert. It seems that bamboo...
Man, do you hear the crackling of that fire? Jesus, man, that's hard. That is hard.
...covering the buildings. By 6 p.m, a Category 5 was announced, Hong Kong's highest alert. It seems that bamboo and the green netting covering it may have accelerated the blaze, with embers jumping from building to building until the entire complex was engulfed.
It is now early morning in Hong Kong, and this fire is still burning some 16 hours later. And in the last few hours, authorities say they've arrested 3 individuals on charges of manslaughter.
Just an awful scene unfolding. James Longman, our thanks to you. What if your YouTube...
Jesus, man. Jesus. I'm sorry. I had to go, you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, we're going to get that off the screen. That's wild right there. That is wild right there. Man, over 4,000 something people in that building alone. They're having the bamboo scaffolds that have been put in place and things like that. Man, Jesus, bro. Woo-wee. Man, my heart goes out to all those people in that apartment complex. This is wild right here, man. This is so sad. This is so sad here, man. So we're going to keep diving and seeing what's going on here, man. Oh, Jesus, man, this is sad.
So it's almost one full day into this major fire in Hong Kong's northeastern town of Tai Po, and it's still burning. Firefighters still working at the scene, and plenty of onlookers are still here. So what we've learned is that this fire was started from a corner of these bamboo scaffoldings being put up for renovation works of these buildings. And now, as we in the daylight, some of them are holding on. Dozens of fire engines are still here. Hundreds of firefighters are still trying to battle the blaze as best as they can, but it's not an easy job. Volunteers who kept bringing in different kinds of supplies to this fire scene for the firefighters, rescue workers, police officers at the scene, but also for residents who have lost their homes and being housed at some school halls nearby, which has been set up as temporary shelters. The government has announced that they have launched a criminal investigation into this, but of course at these moments we still don't know exactly why it has happened.
So obviously they keep saying it's a criminal investigation on a few people here with this situation. Jesus, man. And you know, like I said, you know, China has a long history of using bamboo and stuff like that. If you know your history and things, and I get it, you know, definitely, you know, bamboo is a very strong material. If you don't know, for real, like bamboo is a very strong material. You can, you know, bend it to your will and stuff like that if you know what you're doing with it. But Jesus Christ, man. So the whole structures are, they said they had scaffolding, which is a situation that you use, you know, which over here in America, we use metals and stuff like that to build scaffoldings to go up high rises, clean the windows on our high rise buildings and stuff like that. But we don't use bamboo over here. But it seems like from what we being presented here thus far is that they were using bamboo and other, you know, technically flammable materials, and it seems like a fire broke out here. And of course the bamboo and those other materials, you know, kind of, you know, just intensified the flames. Man, wow. Man, this is sad, bro. You know, so my prayers go out to all these people up here. This is a lot here. This is a lot. Let's go here now.
This is the worst fire disaster in Hong Kong in decades, and experts say it was only preventable if compliant construction materials were used. The fire spread extremely quickly and engulfed 7 out of 8 buildings in this cluster. Well, there's been a lot of speculation about the role of bamboo scaffolding, which is commonly used in Hong Kong construction. Authorities have identified the green mesh, waterproof tarps, and styrofoam as possible culprits, saying that they did not meet fire safety standards. Now, this has prompted an industry-wide review of construction materials as Hong Kong seeks to prevent another tragedy like this.
So this is where they're at. She's explaining the fact that obviously the materials that they are using to scaffold the buildings and build their high rises and stuff like that are not metal materials, are materials that, you know, if a fire breaks out, it can, you know, it can probably maybe hold off a fire for a decent amount of time where firefighters can come in, maybe put out the fire, or the building structure, which probably should have a fire system within it, can, you know, immediately disperse the lubricants or whatever need to be happen to, you know, make sure that the fire is getting put out. Jesus, man. But yeah, when you have basically bamboo, which is it in my mindset is technically a type of wood. But yeah, though, man, Jesus, man, this is sad right here. This is sad. And this is wild right here to have these people like this out here. Yeah, let's keep going.
The firemen could have put out the smaller fire on our block and saved everyone inside first. My block is still on fire now. My daughter and my husband are still not out. The husband of my neighbor has already died.
We bought this apartment more than 20 years ago. All of our belongings were in this apartment. And now that it's all burned like this, what's left? There's nothing left. What are we supposed to do?
Man, you know, yeah, this is a horrible situation here that's going on in China right now, Hong Kong. Jesus, man, a tremendous fire like that. I think they did. I mean, you know, to recap what they said, like it was like 4,000 something people within that, you know, apartment complex and stuff like that. I mean, you know, it's a high rise apartment complex. Jesus Christ, man, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that are affected by this situation. You know, who knows the death toll at this moment, or who knows the people that are injured and stuff like that. Jesus, man, Jesus. Wee. This is a lot. This is a lot right here. This is a lot.
Our firefighting operation is almost complete. Despite that, we are still carrying out firefighting operation to 4 individual units, and damping down to various units of the 7 blocks are still in progress. So as to prevent the debris and embers from flaring up. What's next is the search and rescue operation. We will conduct search and operation to the remaining 25 assistant corps, and at the same time, we will endeavor to effect forcible entry to all the units of the 7 blocks concerned, so as to ensure that there are no other possible casualties. And for the firefighting operation, we encounter particular difficulties in several areas, like the fire was spreading exceptionally fast, exceptionally rapid. So as you can see, the fire spread quickly to all the 7 blocks of the estate. Debris and scaffolding were falling from upper floors, making our access to the affected buildings very difficult.
Wow. So basically, you know what I'm saying, the fire spread it so hard that, you know, due to, you know, what was being said in this broadcast about, you know, the bamboo and other materials that were used for scaffolding and trying to, clean the high rise and things like that, or, you know, other things. it made it impossible for firefighters to get to certain floors. And this is also an issue that we do have with all of our high rises in across the world. I'm just going to speak on this for a second, because, when you build a building to a certain degree, you have 100 floors plus and stuff like that. Like, this is a huge building, just like we have huge buildings here, Dubai, all the developed nations across the world. We have skyscrapers, basically. And if you remember the movie Skyscraper with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, if you remember that movie, that you have to have certain systems in place of firefighter protection that's built in within the building in order to put out fires at certain levels of the building, stuff like that. This is wild right here, man. Jesus Christ. It's oh my goodness, man. This is sad.
And there are also the other reasons like high temperature, darkness, and also there is another reason, is the emergency vehicle access was blocked by the fallen scaffolding and debris, so making our access to the affected building very difficult, particularly our turntable ladder and hydraulic platform.
Man, oh Lord. So they had debris falling from the building that was also preventing them from even being able to get close enough to the building to put out fires.
Let's go live to Hong Kong now and join Debbie Edward. Debbie, it's just after 9:30 in the evening where you are. What is the latest on the fire itself and the investigation into it?
Well, Nina, it is a truly devastating scene here in Hong Kong, and I'm sure for many people watching back home in the UK, it will trigger awful memories of the Grenfell disaster in 2017. Still, more than 24 hours on from when this blaze started, there are still a handful of fires burning in the Wang Fok estate behind me. You can perhaps see firefighters are still dousing several buildings with water to try and contain those remaining fires and the smoke, which hangs heavy in the air here. At the same time, there are firefighters going floor to floor searching for any possible survivors. Occasionally, we'll see some torchlight emerging from the darkened windows as they conduct that dangerous and difficult search. There are still more than 200 people unaccounted for, and it does seem that at that time of day in the afternoon when the fire started yesterday, that mostly at home were the elderly, some of them looking after their grandchildren or children being cared for by their parents or their child caregivers. You can not even begin to imagine what they are going through as they wait for information. And those that we have spoken to that did get out on time have described a terrifying ordeal, a fire that spread incredibly quickly, and they've been left with just the clothes on their back and probably no home to return to.
Man, this is sad out here. Shout out to China, Hong Kong. Man, this is tragedy. I hate when anybody has to go through this type of situation, being burnt out of their homes, and also, with certain living conditions, stuff like that. From what we being told, throughout this broadcast here, is that, they have certain materials and stuff like that, when actually regulation materials. I'm just bringing you what I've gathered so far. We're gonna try to dive deeper, but the thing of this is, man, it's crazy out here with this situation. That's a lot of people. That high-rise building holds a lot of people. Like it was said, it was like over 4,000 something people alone, just with this particular situation here. Jesus, man, that's a lot of people that are displaced, that maybe have perished, or maybe can't be found at the moment. This is a tragic situation, man. I really hate this. you know, and regardless of what country is in, and I get it, you know, America, we, you know, China, you know, whatever. But it's just a sad situation when people have to go through things like this and lose loved ones and all this type of stuff, man. My prayers go out to everybody in this situation here, man. And it's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.